Along the coast of North Carolina, on a small island surrounded by quiet water, there once stood a colony that hoped to become England's first true home in the New World. And then, it vanished. No bodies, no signs of battle, no remains of fire or escape. Only one word, carved into wood: CROATOAN. For centuries, it lived as one of America's oldest mysteries. And like many people, my first contact with the word CROATOAN wasn't through a history book, but through the TV series Supernatural. That episode left a strong impression on me, and years later I wanted to understand what this word really meant beyond fiction. But what if Roanoke was never a mystery at all? To understand Roanoke, we go back to the summer of 1587. A ship led by Governor John White arrived on Roanoke Island with 115 settlers, men, women, and children, hoping to build a new beginning. At first, things were promising. They built simple homes, planted crops, and formed friendly relations with nearby Croatan people on Hatteras Island. But food ran short, and with no other choice, John White sailed back to England for more supplies. He planned to return quickly, but he didn't come back for 3 years. When John White finally reached Roanoke in 1590, the colony was gone. Homes were carefully taken apart, not burned, not destroyed. No people, no bodies, only one clue: CROATOAN. Roanoke was never a fortress. It was a small, hopeful community trying to survive far from everything they knew. The island was facing drought, the soil was difficult to work with, and the settlers struggled to grow enough food. Each month, survival became a little harder, and as time passed, the people realized they were completely alone. No ship, no help, no sign that John White will ever return. Months turned into years, and the settlers reached the point where they had to make a choice: stay on an island that could no longer support them, or live in search of life somewhere else. After John White found the settlement empty, something strange happened. Not on the island, but in the years and centuries that followed. Roanoke slowly stopped being treated like a historical event and started becoming a supernatural story. Writers, newspapers, and early American storytellers began to describe the colony as if it had vanished into thin air. The word CROATOAN was repeated so many times without any context that it turned into a symbol of fear, something unexplained, something eerie. And through books, movies, documentaries, and yes, even Supernatural, the story kept drifting further away from reality. It became tied to ideas of ghosts, curses, disappearances, and unknown forces in the woods. But the truth is this: most people never heard of the actual evidence. They only heard the legends. So before we bring the mystery back down to earth, let's look at the explanations, the theories that people created to understand what happened on that quiet island. Over the years, many explanations were suggested for the disappearance. A hurricane, a storm powerful enough to wipe out a colony, would have left broken trees, debris, and ruins. Roanoke had none of these signs. Famine or disease, starvation or sickness would leave graves or scattered bones. Nothing like that was found on Roanoke. A Spanish attack. Spain had reasons to target an English colony, but there were no burned structures, no bodies, and no Spanish records describing such an event. They moved. This is the first theory that matches the evidence. The settlers removed their own buildings, calmly, not in panic. It was an organized relocation, and the carved word shows exactly where they went. CROATOAN was not a code, not a warning, not a supernatural mark. It was the name of an island, Hatteras Island, home of the CROATOAN, the tribe with the strongest connection to the settlers. If the people of Roanoke needed safety, food, or support, Hatteras is where they would go, and archaeology confirms it. Excavations on Hatteras Island revealed objects that could only come from the Roanoke settlers: English tools, metal fittings, pieces of small cannon, European-style pottery. But the strongest evidence was hammer scale. tiny iron flakes created when someone is forging metal. The Croatan people did not forge iron, the English did, and this hammer scale was found right next to Croatan artifacts. That means the two groups lived together, working side by side. There is more. In 1701, English explorer John Lawson visited Hatteras and wrote something unusual. Some local people had grey eyes and said their ancestors could read from a book. These are English traits, not indigenous ones. All of it points to one conclusion. The settlers of Roanoke were never lost. They were not killed, they did not vanish. They survived. To live, they joined the Croatan. They shared homes, language, skills, and finally families. Over time, the two communities blended into one. Roanoke did not fall. It transformed. For generations, the story of Roanoke has been told as an unsolved mystery, but the truth is more human and far more meaningful. This was not a tale of ghosts or disappearances. It was a story of people abandoned on the edge of the world who chose cooperation over fear. A story of survival, a story of change, a story of connection. And the single word carved into that wooden post, CROATOAN, was never the mark of a vanished colony. It was a direction, a destination, a new beginning. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like and subscribe to EraVivid for more true stories the world forgot. Thank you for watching.